We don't get to choose the timeline. Like, yeah, there are things that we would love to happen in a certain amount of time, but we don't get to choose. All we get to do is we get to take aligned action and do what we can and then fully believe that it's going to work and that our success is inevitable. If we're doing that and that belief is solid, there's no reason why it has to take you a long time.
You are listening to the Beyond the Classroom podcast, a podcast for burnt-out teachers who know something's gotta give. After teaching for 14 years and feeling completely burned out for way too long, in May of 2022, I made a big decision and left the classroom. I now help burnt-out teachers like you take back balance and joy so you can wake up every day loving your life. In this podcast, we'll explore who you are beyond the classroom, whether you're considering leaving or wanting to make changes so you can fall in love with teaching again. Either way, I understand what it's like to be living a life that looks fun and cute on the outside. You know, summer's off, playing all day, off at 2 o'clock every day, but actually feels miserable and draining. I'm your host and coach, Sandy Patterson, and I'm so excited to help you step into your fullest potential and believe in that potential to make an impact on the world, not just survive each day. Are you ready? Let's do this.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Beyond the Classroom podcast. I am Sandy Patterson, your host and certified life and business coach. And as always, I am so happy that you are here today to spend a little bit of time together, chitty-chatting all about business and just all the things here. I know summer is right around the corner. It's the beginning of May right now as I'm recording this. And I know that a lot of teachers who are business building are getting ready to really gear up to pour into their businesses this summer. It is the perfect time to really kind of get situated, get those foundational pieces laid. And I'm excited to support you if that's the case. I'm also excited to support you if you are like, I want nothing to do with business. I just want to lay by the pool and have a drink. That's all good too. But the majority of my clients are people who are building businesses in order to get out of their 9-to-5. So today we're going to talk about 4 myths about building a business and working full time. And this can also go to with 4 myths about building a business and still having a summer, right? Because I think a lot of my teacher clients are like, I'm really nervous because, summer is usually the time when I rest and I recharge, and I don't want to lose that. I essentially don't want to lose summer. And over the course of, the past year and a half of my business, as I've been working with lots of teachers to build businesses, to find balance, to do all of these amazing things, I hear these things quite often. I hear my clients tell me, if only I had 10 more hours in the day. I just need more time in the day. Or this business building thing, like I want to do it and I kind of started it, but it feels like it's going to take forever. I've also heard clients say, I feel like I really have to hustle and hustle all the time. Like every moment of my day needs to be spent doing something to move this business forward. And then the other part of this is I'll have to sacrifice a lot, or the other underlying fear is that if I really go all in on this, I'm going to have to sacrifice things. And so I am here today to debunk these myths because they're just simply not true. And if you've been around here and on the podcast or in my space for a while, you know that I left my teaching job in June of 2022 and I built my first business while I was still teaching full-time in the classroom. I was teaching kindergarten, which is a whole nother beast, right? My boys were young and I did it, and I didn't need 10 more hours in the day. It didn't take forever. At times it felt like it was taking forever, but in the grand scheme of things, it took less than a year, less than 6 months actually. I wasn't hustling all the time and I didn't have to sacrifice anything because I wasn't willing to sacrifice anything. So we're going to talk about these things, and we can look at it from a lens of if you're working full-time, you're working that 9 to 5 and you're business building. These are just some small mindset shifts that you can make in order to not feel as overwhelmed as you probably feel, because I was there and I felt it. I felt the overwhelm, but that was just kind of, it all came from me. Like there was no reason for me to be overwhelmed. And in hindsight, looking back on this, I'm like, oh, all of the things that I felt overwhelmed about, or all of the things that I was worried about, were not necessarily things that needed to be worried about at all. Okay, let's dive into these myths. So the first one, I just need more time in the day. How many times have you felt that or thought that or even heard somebody say it? I know I've heard many people say it, and I have said it and thought it myself too, until I really stopped to kind of evaluate my relationship with time and how I was feeling about time and how I use my time essentially. And when I say this to my clients, when they say, if I only had 10 more hours in the day, then I would be able to whatever, I look at them and I go, girl, if you had 10 more hours in the day, you would be doing exactly what you are doing right now, just more of it. Okay, so here's a perfect example. Have you ever had something come up or something get canceled, right? So maybe you have plans, or maybe you have an appointment, or maybe you have something scheduled, and whatever it is gets canceled. And essentially what you have there is an extra hour or an extra 2 hours of time basically given to you, right? So extra time there where you were planning on allocating that time to doing something else, and now you have that time free. It's pretty typical that you think like, oh, if I had an extra hour in the day, I would go to the gym, or I would finally have time to build my business, or I would have time to create this new opt-in, or I wouldn't feel so, stressed out about posting on social media because I had a whole nother hour. But really no, because when that appointment is canceled, you just do the same thing that you were doing anyways. Like it wouldn't be you're like, perfect, I'm going to go to the gym, or perfect, I'm going to go build my business, or I'm going to build that opt-in. No, you're like, okay, perfect, I'm going to go get all the things on my to-do list done. I'm going to go, do some chores. I'm going to go do the dishes. I'm going to, oh, perfect. Like you do the same thing that you do. Otherwise, you're just doing more of it. And this gets really, really interesting when we think about how we spend time doing what is important to us. So what your priorities are what you're spending your time on. And oftentimes when I go through this exercise with clients where we sit down and I say, okay, take out your calendar and let's look at what you're doing with your time. But before we even do that, I have them list out their priorities. So what are your priorities? What do you want to look back on in 10, 20, 50, whatever, 100 years and say, these were the things that were important to me? It's typically, things like family, spending time outdoors, spending time with my friends, laughing, relaxing, enjoying life, just being present in life. Those are usually what people will say are their priorities. But then when we pull out their calendar and we look at their calendar, it tells a completely different story, right? Like a lot of the things that we do because we feel like we have to do them. We do them because we feel like we should be doing them. We do them because we feel like it's probably the right thing to do, using the word right in air quotes there. And we actually really see that like, oh, wait, how I'm using my time is not actually aligning with my priorities. And so that's a lot of the work that I do with my clients as well, as we kind of look and we say, okay, how do we resolve this so that our days are spent doing what is aligned and what makes us happy and what makes us feel grounded and centered. And yeah, of course, I get a ton of pushback on this about like, well, I don't want to go to work, but I kind of have to pay the bills or whatever. I get it. I totally get it. But there are absolutely ways that you can adjust and shift. Okay, so here's the thing. The reason we feel so overwhelmed and so like hustle is because we're constantly running to finish and do all of the things, because we think, okay, once I finish and do all these things, then I'll finally have time to do those things that I just described. Spend time with my family, be really present in my life, go outside in nature, all the things that I just described, the things that we say are our priorities. After all of this is done, then I'll have time to do these things. But really, it's ass backwards, right, you guys? Like, we have to flip this. So what we're doing, how we're spending our time, is completely aligned to our values and to our priorities. And once we do that, once we figure out how to do that by evaluating our relationship with time and how we're viewing time, then we don't feel overwhelmed or anxious or like on that hamster wheel. We feel, like I just said, aligned and centered. And at the end of the day, we go to bed happy, feeling like, okay, I did what was important to me, right? So here's the thing. If building your business is important to you, you just find a way to carefully delegate the time that you do have to make it happen. You don't need more hours in the day. I promise you. You just need more focus and the ability to say no to some things right now. And it's just these small shifts and these small tweaks that we can make to create the space to make this business happen. And like I said earlier, I didn't have extra time in the day. Like, that's just not a thing. Like, time is not a renewable resource for anybody. And it's the ultimate like equalizer, because everybody has the same exact amount of time in the day. But you notice some people feel like you talk. I mean, when I go pick up my kids after school at the car bar line, like, I can't even tell you how many moms are just like, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed. I'm so overwhelmed. There's not enough time for everything. I just need more time in the day. If I only had, this whole thing. And then I'm over here like, I don't really feel like that anymore. I did at one point, but I don't. Yeah, there are times when I'm like, oh my gosh, this is busy, or this day is busy, or this time frame, I need to take it one thing at a time. It's a busy like chunk of time. But overall, I don't feel like I need any more time in the day, because I've gotten so good at focusing the time that I do have. And I've gotten really good at saying no to things that don't align with anything that's not my priority or my value. And that has been a game changer, both in my life and in my business. Because when I was teaching again, I didn't have extra time in the day. I just had to shift. I had to reorganize that time that I did have to make it happen. And like I said, this is something that we dive really, really deep into in the Biz Builders program. It's something that it's overlooked often, but it can make such a big difference. And like, even just when I say like your relationship with time, that's like we have like a whole session on that in the Biz Builders program, just to really think about how we're using our time, what we're doing with our time, and how we can start to shift that relationship so time is working for us and it doesn't feel like we're working against the clock, because that is not a great way to go through our days, especially not a great way to go through your days consistently. Like, it's just not sustainable. Like, that's why so many women, I feel like, just burn out. They get to a point where they're like, I can't do this anymore. Like, it's too much. We're just constantly on the wheel. So those small ideas of like, and I have too, like, who said this? Marie Forleo said this. She says, I don't do stressed. Like, I just don't do stressed. And she also says, there's enough time in the day for what's important. When I heard that out, that was like a game changer for me. So just want to reiterate again, you don't need more hours in the day to build your business. If you're working full time, you don't need more hours in the day to build your business. If you're still wanting to enjoy your summer as you would anyways, you just need to figure out how to use your time in the best way that's going to move the needle forward the fastest. Okay, so that's myth number one. Myth number two is this is going to take forever. And I get this because we live in a society today that is very, very like instant gratification. We want instant gratification. We have a thought and we think something or we want something to happen, and then we expect it to happen the very next day, right? Because right, with Amazon, we can order something online and have it in our hands the very next day without having to do anything. So when my clients tell me, oh my gosh, this is going to take forever, to me, that means two things. Number one, it means that you're not in the present moment and you're looking farther into the future, okay? And it also means, number two, that you are not focusing on the progress that you've already made. So oftentimes I'll have clients come to me and they hit like this milestone that they were hoping to hit in their business. So whatever that might be, maybe they got their first client, maybe they got a certain amount of income, just these different milestones or things that they're working on in their business. And they'll come to me and they'll sit down and it's like, oh my goodness, like this is amazing. You got your first client or you made this X amount of money or whatever it is that you did. But then they go, oh my gosh, but it's taken forever and it took me this long. So if it took me this long just to do this, like how long is it going to take me to get to where I need to be? Well, the question is, how long is it going to take you to get to where you want to be if you do nothing versus doing something and taking these small steps? Because it's the small steps that stack up and create these big, amazing things that happen, right? This is another one too, because a lot of the women that I work with are in the beginning-ish phases of their business. So like the first 1 to 2 years of business. And I'll have I'll get on a call with somebody and they'll be like, I just, this feels like it's taking forever. It's going to take forever. It's going to take so long. And I go, well, how long have you been in business so far? Like, when did you launch your business? And they'll say something like, well, I've been at it for a month, or I've been at it for 3 months and, nothing's happening. And it's funny because in the grand scheme of things, like a month, 3 months, like that's really nothing. You're not looking far enough ahead to know like you're in this for the long game. And if you keep doing exactly what you're doing, you just keep taking these tiny little steps, you're going to get to where you need to be. It's just a release of that timeline. And again, it goes back to that whole situation with time, right? We don't get to choose the timeline. Like, yeah, there are things that we would love to happen in a certain amount of time, but we don't get to choose. All we get to do is we get to take aligned action and do what we can and then fully believe that it's going to work and that our success is inevitable. If we're doing that and that belief is solid, there's no reason why it has to take you a long time. It really doesn't. And here's the thing. Technically in business, there are just a few key things that you need to get going and to get money into your account. Like, you don't need a lot of stuff. I know a lot of people think that like they need a lot of things and they'll spend a lot of time on like creating their website and getting their onboarding process going and getting their systems set up and running and doing all this stuff that actually doesn't really put money in your account. I did a series, I'll link it in the show notes. I did a series last summer, or I guess it was part of a series. It was one episode about the 4 things that you need to essentially get money in your account in your business, and they're not what you think they are. So I'll link that in the show notes, but it's actually very simple. Like, you could technically go to the grocery store right now, tell somebody what you do. They could say, oh my gosh, I need that. They could Venmo you. And then tomorrow you could be working with them or delivering your service, whatever it is. Like, it's not actually that hard. So if you can get really super specific about the key things that you need to do every day in order to make money, so those money making activities, then you're good to go. And it's also like, you can also get support. Like, if you have support too, I think that was the biggest game changer for me when I was building my first business, was that I had support. Like, I knew I needed somebody there that had done it before, and also somebody that was doing it as I was doing it. Those two things, like, I think collapsed my timeline, because if I had have tried to just keep going by myself and just kind of figure it out, which I pretty much did, but I also had support there of somebody that could like help me, and I could ask questions to and be like, am I doing this right? Is this correct? Like, that was a game changer. So this is the beauty too of what I do with my clients. In what my clients are doing right now, in 3 to 6 months, usually takes people years to complete or years to accomplish. There is so much magic in support and accountability and guidance, and out of having somebody there that you can just like be like, what do I do now? Like, hold my hand, help me, or like push me, help me, or help. And I know what it's like to have support in order to do that. And I know that that can collapse your timeline. So to debunk this myth, it doesn't have to take forever. It doesn't. And also, you can also think about too, redefining what forever means. Because like I said earlier, a lot of times forever can mean 3 months or 6 months or even a year. I mean, a year in business that's still a baby business, right? So we let go of the timeline, we take aligned action, and we get really strategic and really specific about our money-making activities. And number one, it doesn't have to take a lot of time. And number two, it's not going to take forever if you keep going. Like I said before, is it going to take longer if you sit here and do nothing and think about it? Or is it going to take longer if you actually take action and do the things that you know need to get done? So that's number two. Myth number three is you're going to have to grind and hustle all hours of the day and night in order to make this happen, especially if you're working full time. And this is simply not true unless you allow it to be true, unless you let it be true. I've worked with clients who come into it, they've, started building their business and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm hustling. I stay up until 1 a.m. every night and then I wake up at 5 a.m. and, I do the whole thing over again and I'm still not seeing the progress that I want. You don't have to hustle unless you tell yourself you have to hustle. What you do have to do is laser focus your time again. So this goes back to number one and number two, and you have to make sure that the time that you are spending is focused on those money-making activities. I work with my clients to put things into groups of like activities, like different things, like different buckets of activities. And oftentimes we find that we're doing the things that are easy on the back end that aren't actually doing anything. Well, I shouldn't say they're not doing anything. They are doing something for your business, but not as fast as if you focus on these money-making activities, okay? And it's these pieces, these processes and these systems and these strategies that are essential to lay the foundational pieces of your business. Because if you do it in the beginning, or you start doing it now, even if it's not in the beginning, you're not going to need to hustle until 1 a.m. Like I built my business while I was teaching in 1, maybe 2 hours max a day. And I did that again while teaching full time and while being a mom. And for any of you that know me in real life too, you know that I am in bed by 9 p.m. every night. I am not a night owl. I am an early bird, and it wouldn't do me any good to stay up late anyways because I'm like shot. But I never stayed up really, really late. Like I never was like, oh, I gotta hustle. I gotta grind. I gotta do this. I gotta get this done. No, it was like, here's the time that I have. I'm going to focus my time. And I got it done. It all gets done. It always does. If you think back to all of those times where you're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get all this done? It's always all gotten done. Okay. So you do not have to hustle. You do not have to grind. You don't have to stay up until 1 a.m. or you don't have to wake up at, 5 a.m. Maybe you're a night owl and you like staying up late and you've heard or somebody's told you got to get up at 5 a.m. and, grind. No, you don't. You do what works for you and you just laser focus that time. Okay. Okay. Last one. Oh, look. Same. This kind of goes perfectly with the third one, that you're going to have to sacrifice a lot for this. So when we say sacrifice, we mean give up something that's important to us to build this other thing. And that's terrifying, right? Like we don't build businesses to sacrifice time with our kids. Like, no, we build businesses to create more time with our kids, right? So the idea that you're going to have to sacrifice anything, whether that's time with your family, whether that's sleep, whether that is your sanity, you don't have to sacrifice anything. Again, it's just not true. I never sacrificed time with them to time with my boys. I mean, when I was building that first business, if I needed to be somewhere for them, I was there. And again, ladies, like it all got done regardless of whether I sacrificed time or not. Now, this is not to say, like, was it hard at times? Yes, absolutely. It was tricky and it was a balancing act. But I also can tell you, if you're like in this state of like, I'm going to have to sacrifice, I also want to tell you that yes, it was 100% worth it. Those hard times and that balancing act that I did in those moments where I was like, is this going to work? Is this not? I don't know. What am I doing? It was worth it, because on the other side of it, guess what? It's exactly what I just described. It's more time with my kids. It's the ability to take them to school every day and pick them up and be more emotionally and physically and mentally present with them throughout the days. And that in itself to me is priceless. Like, I will balance whatever I need to balance, and I will move through those hard, scary times 1,000 times over to have what I have now. And that was my why, right? That's why I was like, okay, I'm in this for the long haul. We're going to do this. It doesn't matter how long it's going to take. I'm going to focus my time. Let's go. But I want you to know that you do not have to sacrifice anything for your business. Your business needs to be built around you and your life and how you want to live it, not the other way around. And so if you are in a stage right now where you are business building and you feel like you're having to sacrifice a lot for this, thinking I'll sacrifice now, and then once I reach this certain point, then like the tables will turn and I'll flip this around. That's not how it is. Like, it feels counterintuitive, but I promise you, you work the other way around to lay the foundation and to create sustainability in your business. And that is 100% totally possible and totally doable, no matter what stage of business you're in, or no matter how like flustered you are right now. I got you. Okay. So I hope today these 4 myths that we talked about, I just need more time in the day. This is going to take forever. I have to hustle and I'll have to sacrifice a lot for this. I hope that this was helpful and you got at least one tiny little mindset shift that you can take into this summer with you, or even take it with you tomorrow. You don't have to wait till summer. Take it with you tomorrow. And I'm so excited to share with you that I am hosting a free 3-day Get Your First or Next Client Masterclass. And I would love for you to sign up and join me. We are going to spend 3 days together learning the step-by-step process to get you your first or your next client as we head into summer. And I'm super excited. I know I'd say I'm excited a lot, but I really, truly am. This process has worked for me and for dozens of my clients. And I share this process. It's a 3-step process. I've taken a lot of sales courses. I've taken a lot of like how to get your clients, how to sell your offer. I've taken a lot of different courses and things like this. I've never seen it done like this. So this masterclass is perfect for new service-based business owners like coaches or VAs or OBMs who are 100% all in and ready to get a paying client or to get another client in their business. And my goal in sharing this masterclass with you and spending these 3 days with you is to really help you understand that it doesn't have to be scary to get out there, get out into the wild and get a paying client. And I want you to take this step-by-step process that you can use over and over again to rinse and repeat and continue to get clients and book yourself out. So I'm so excited. The dates for this 3 free day Get Your First or Next Client Masterclass will be May 27th, May 28th, and May 30th of 2024. We're going to come together on Zoom at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And we will just spend the time together. It'll be no more than an hour. I don't anticipate spending more than an hour because, again, I know that you have plenty to do. Your schedules are packed and busy. And if you can't make it to the live sessions, the replays will be emailed out. So even if you can't make it, just go ahead and sign up for it. I will leave the link in the show notes to sign up for that. And I'm excited to work with you to help you get those next or even your first client in your business. So you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you back here next week for the next episode. Okay, bye.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Beyond the Classroom. If you know something has to change and you're ready to take the next step to make it happen, whether it's in or out of the classroom, Let's talk it through together. Schedule a no-obligation chat with me and we can talk through where you're stuck, how to get you unstuck, and how to keep you moving forward. Schedule your free call today by clicking the link in the show notes. I can't wait to connect with you.